Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning or good night, depending on where you may be in the world. This is a new format of streams that we are trying here at Arcade, where every Tuesday, as opposed to a 3-hour stream that's just me like fixing bugs and all of that, it's gonna be more of me giving a live demo of a specific thing that was already built, so that you can see more of what's possible to do with Arcade. And today, that means looking at our MCP Gateway. An MCP Gateway is basically a virtual MCP server, right? So what you do is you get a specific URL and you connect multiple MCP servers to that specific URL. You can grab tools from the Arcade larger catalog of tools, or you can also plug in your own specific tools. If you made it with Arcade MCP, for example, you will be able to leverage the managed auth that Arcade offers, all seamlessly. So, for example, if you want to keep that URL and plug it into Cursor or into VS Code or any other MCP client, you can do it, and it's very easy to do. So, what I'm gonna show today, and let me just start sharing my screen so that you can follow along. What I'm sharing today is, this is my Arcade demo project or demos project, and I have authorized already a bunch of things, right? So Google, Linear, GitHub, Reddit, and Slack. And I have prepared an MCP gateway for a video that is already out there, and let me just show you this. So one thing I'm gonna do is actually first delete this MCP gateway. I'm gonna recreate it from scratch. So if I go to my editor, I am here in a brand new project, and this project is essentially how I normally test the different capabilities of different LLMs. For example, GPT 5.2 was just released, and I would build a server or like a specific app like this one and tell the agent to build its own harness, right? This is a little bit different because I wanted to be more controlled, and for that I used Linear. So I created this project or series of projects that is an agent building its own harness, essentially. So I've looked at so many models doing this already that it makes sense to sort of templatize this and then have a LLM build its harness in a more controlled way. Like, I know where kind of they get stuck and where I need to sort of like prompt them more if you wish, right? So I normally start with the agentic UX, and just for show purposes, I made this specific issue. Actually, I'm gonna put it as a to-do, but urgent, and that is implement a chatbot that lets users send and receive messages from the agents, right? And I just describe a little bit what that means from the user experience perspective. So it's going to be a full window screen that has a sidebar on the left with a start new session button at the top, a list of past sessions with the selected agent, and then if you click it, the session is loaded into the chat and all events are displayed to the user. Then I can go more in depth into this, add a new agent. This is like how you would, it's a feature that I want my agent to also have, right? So instead of having all of these into a single prompt that the agent needs to one shot and handle all of it, I break it down into specific issues, right? And actually, this specific project, I made it manually, but my current workflow, I just pointed to a specific Linear initiative or a Linear workspace, and I will just tell the agent, this is what I want, go ahead and plan, and then from that plan, break it down into projects and issues for Linear. And it's really good because you can think about the specific cycles of the agent as limited by their own context window. So this workflow makes it very easy to manage all of these things. Like I have multiple chances to tell the agent, here's what you need to do, grab the most urgent ones, and sometimes even the agent will set the specific priorities or the specific sequences that the issues need to follow, right? So let me show you how to get that working, right? So the first thing is, if you go to cursor, go here, open MCP settings, and let me see if this should fail now because it's no longer active on my dashboard. I leave the connection here because I don't want to reveal my API key, but basically this is an entry on that JSON. So if we go here, I don't think we can get the output immediately, but MCP, yeah, no server info found, right? So at the moment I cannot connect to this, so I'm gonna just disable it, bring that back to my terminal. If I go to my MCP gateways, I'm gonna create a new one. I'm gonna call it Mateo's MCP. And the description is optional, but I think it helps to kind of teach the model a little bit of how this specific MCP gateway or this MCP server, from the point of view of the client, is supposed to be used, right? So I can say something like, I'm gonna just make this slightly bigger, and this MCP server contains tools to deal with a standard development flow. It contains integrations and tools with Linear, GitHub, and just for fun, I'm gonna add Slack. Here's how the usual workflow looks like. Get the most urgent linear issue, create a branch for that issue using Git, implement feature in that branch, commit, create a pull request, notify Mateo on Slack, saying with a link to the PR. The instructions above are just a rule of thumb. Please prioritize any instruction explicitly given by the user, right? And I'm gonna make it Mateo so that I know that the URL I'm gonna get is the one that I connected to Cursor already. And I'm gonna select a bunch of tools. So if I go to GitHub, right, I have a lot of tools here, but I don't need all of the server to do that. And that is one point of MCP gateways. They are very versatile in what and how to combine these tools. If I wanted to do this, for example, with the official GitHub MCP server and the official Linear MCP server that I don't even know if it exists, I would need to go configure that specifically, and I don't have a lot of choices on, selecting the specific tools that I want or don't want. In Cursor, I know that I can disable that specifically, but then that specific selection and then the prompt of how to bind all of these together, if I wanted to connect it to a new instance of Cursor or VS Code or any other MCP client, I would have to repeat that, and then maybe that MCP client doesn't have actually a toggle of tools, right? So uncertain if that would work or not. So I'm gonna go ahead here and say, actually I want to select all of them at the beginning and then kind of filter them out, right? So assign pull request, yes, I want that. Stargazers, I don't care. Create branch, yes. Create file, I don't care. Create issue, also I don't care. Reply for review comment, I don't want that. Create pull request, absolutely. Review comment, I don't want. File contents. Get issue. So this is something that if my workflow would be solely inside GitHub, I would use it. But since I'm gonna use Linear for managing the issues, I actually don't need this. Notification summary, get pull request, yes. Get repository, yes. Get review workload, no. Items, no. Recent activity, no. These issues, no. Notification, no. These, yes. Project fields, no. Project items, no. Nothing that has to do with projects. Collaborators, sure. Repository labels, no. Review comments, yes. Review, maybe I want that, like Stargazers, no. Label, no. Merge pull request. I maybe for a different agent, but for this agent I don't want it. Resolve review thread, I don't want it. Search my repos, search project item, I don't want that. Submit review, update issue, I don't want the issue. Who am I? Yes. Update file, I don't want that. So I reduced this to about 18 tools out of 44, and I'm gonna do something similar with Linear. Right? So I go here, Linear, I'm gonna select all of them, but then I'm gonna go ahead and filter them out. Comment, I don't think so. Add project to initiative, like this, like project to initiative, archive initiative, archive issue, all of that. I would add this to that planner agent that will help me actually, you know, build the Linear project and add all of the issues into that project so that this agent actually implements the flow, right? So I'm gonna get rid of that. Archive no, archive issue no, archive project no, create initiative no, create issue no, issue relation no, create project no, create update no, get cycle no, get initiative no, get issue yes, get notification no, get project maybe, project expectation yes, recent activity no, get team yes, link GitHub to issue yes, list comments yes, list cycle yeah, initiative here, list issues, list labels, I don't want labels, list workflow states, manage issue subscription, I don't want that, reply comment maybe, transition issue state, that's important because I want I want this to be moved to like in progress and all of that. Update comment yes, update initiative no, update issue yes, how am I update project now? Okay, so I'm gonna pick those, and just for fun I'm gonna add Slack here. So Slack is only 8 tools, so let's see what is in there. Get conversation metadata, get messages, yes. Get users in conversation, yes. User info, list conversation, list user. Yeah, this is alright. So I reduced, like I integrated 3 services now, Linear, Slack, and GitHub in a single MCP server, right? And I didn't really evaluate how these tools work together, but I feel quite confident that because these have, you know, their specific swimming lane, if you wish, of responsibility, it's very unlikely that they will collide into, you know, how to send the notifications and all of that, right? So I'm gonna use these 42 tools and then notify Mateo on Slack with a direct message with a link to the GitHub PR. I'm gonna create it. So this is now live. It's a new MCP server that has the specific URL, which is the one that I already have configured on Cursor. So if I go back to my editor and I just enable this, it will you will see that the tools that we selected is the ones that appear here, right? So that's the easier way to create an MCP server ever, a customized one with only the things that you need. You get a specific URL. I could grab this URL, plug it into N8N, VS Code, you name it, and it will work, right? So as long as the agent knows how to use these tools and the actual harness, the editor, the MCP client is managing the protocol correctly, that should be fine. All right, so this project, and let me show you the repository. I have it open. Basically what this is, I just created this to showcase this capability. Is a create better T stack, like brand new project, right? So I just did bound create better T stack. I selected Elysia, bound Prisma, SQLite for the database. It says Torso here, but I just actually selected the local one, and that's a router, Tailwind, ShadCN, and all of that goodness, right? So what this is gonna do is, if I run this, right? I'm gonna just copy that. Don't open. I want to open it in my own browser. This is how it looks like. Let me see. I think I have a user already from last time. Yeah. So I have a user, but basically the application is totally empty, right? It has nothing implemented yet, and that's gonna change right now. So I go to cursor, say, hey, please get me the urgent issues from Linear. Right. So what this is gonna do is it's gonna, figure out that it has these tools and say Linear list issues. Yeah, sure. Go ahead, run it, and it's gonna actually go ahead and bring me the specific Linear issues that are urgent. Right. So if you go to these two, like one of them, AGS 6, is the one that we were looking at before. It's this one, AGS 6. So this is the one that I want to implement right now. I'm gonna go tell cursor, I want you to implement AGS 6. Please handle the entire flow as usual. I'm gonna just use like create the branch, implement feature, submit a PR, send me DM on Slack when you're done. Don't forget to update the Linear issue to the correct status. Something like that. Like that is kind of roughly how I wanted to do it. And I don't want to use YOLO mode for this, so I'm kind of gonna babysit the agent a little bit here. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. I'm using GPT 5.2, which is the latest by OpenAI. It's not my favorite model by any stretch of the imagination, but I think I'm quite confident that it can handle this specific issue, right? So the agent is now gone to do the specific things. So while this is happening in the background, I want to move this here. Let's have the agent do the thing over there, and make this a little bit bigger so that we can give permissions and so on. In the meantime, I'm gonna take you to docs and tell you about the MCP Gateway extract. Right? So this is exactly what we're using right now. It's an MCP Gateway, and the idea is, what I just did here. We selected Linear, GitHub, and Slack in this case, and it will teach you how to connect the thing. This is how the connection looks like in Cursor. So I would, in my case, it's called Mateo, but the URL is going to be whatever you configure as a Slack. And then you put your Arcade API key and your Arcade user ID, right? So very simple, very easy. We also have specific instructions on how to do the same thing for VS Code. And you can then connect any MCP client that you need and get the agent to work on the specific thing, right? Of course, because I'm using an IDE that is oriented to code and it's a code editor itself, it will have its own capabilities that are native to the harness that are not, I don't need to include that in the MCP server, like editing a file, all of that, interacting with Git, all of that, it will just happen, right? So run, sure, just do that. Let's see actually to do, create a feature branch for HC6, add DB models, implement the server chat API, just run everything. Let me see. Run DB push, type check build, fix means, commit changes, update linear issues, send, select the with PR link. Okay, sounds good. So while this is working, let's see. Is it already changing? Doesn't look like. As this evolves, we will see this change because the server is running and it should be live updating the application. Go, it created create agents thing. I mean, this has all of the basic components, a chat session, which is what I asked, chat role system user assistant. This is a bit misleading. The system maybe could be used for tool calling, but in general, I prefer a bit more of a granular set of messages. You could have like tool calling, tool responses, auth challenges, auth responses, human in the loop interruptions, all of that. Chat agent. Let's see what's happening over here. Role agent key, session ID. Oh no, it actually got that. Chat event is system user assistant. Yeah, there you go. Authorized, that's fine. Oh, I think I'm logged out. Okay. Yeah, so this is being implemented at the moment, like signing successful. It's still praying. This is not gonna be a functioning harness, I don't think, after this specific session with the agent, because it doesn't have all of the API keys that I need to make it work with OpenAI and maybe OpenRouter, all of that. So it's now generating the database so that this is gonna work. So there will be a lot of like mock involved, and I don't know about the linter. I think the dirty stack is quite pedantic about what it requires in terms of the specific typing and don't put any, all of that kind of thing. So we'll see, right? But in general, like it's already quite good. I'm quite happy. I'm gonna actually move these around to the other window. So it's doing all right. Helper, debugger, no sessions, start new session. Well, everything will fail because the database is not quite there yet. Yeah, will fail. Let's see. Yes, I mean. Done. apparently deleted my stuff. Let's see. Check. So okay, now it is fixing the linting and all of that. So that may take a while. If it's taking very long, I'm gonna interrupt it. But yeah, run check. Yeah. Bio check. Yeah. Let's see. Interesting. Start new session, answer message. Let's look at the API that it created. This is the agent, general purpose assistant. Interesting that it picked GPT-4o mini. There are so many examples with that model, and maybe that's why it picked it. But it's interesting that it didn't pick something like GPT-5 or even GPT 5.1 or itself like GPT 5.2. I wonder what it's trying to use. Volume, Elysium. What is the packages I want to use? Oh, React agents. Chat API. It doesn't seem that Elysia. This is all of the auth pieces. Generate agent reply. Open router. It chose open router. That's interesting. Did I tell you to use open router? I didn't. Interesting. That's very, very interesting. I wonder why it picked open router. In my experience, when I tell any OpenAI model to just create its harness, it tends to prefer the OpenAI Agents SDK lately, or just the bare bones OpenAI client, like the SDK client, just the API. So that's very interesting. I wonder if I put open routers somewhere. I don't think so, because it's not part of Better T Stack, and the only thing I did is that. No. I did influence this because the folder is called React Agent Open Router. So yeah, mystery solved. So we're still fixing linting, which, you know, because we have a very pedantic biome configuration, it's gonna consume a little bit of tokens. So let's see. Chat sessions. It does seem that it's gonna support a lot of the stage 9. So it seems that we are happy already with let's see if it updated the to do. Yeah, commit changes and open here. There you go. That. Right. Sure, that's a migration plan. Implement this. Okay, commit. Okay. it should have pushed now to that specific branch. So if I go here and I refresh, yeah, we see the branch is already created. And yeah, create pull request. There you go. It gave me a summary, it put everything. If I go to linear, in a little bit we should see that this is gonna be linked to that jar. I don't remember if I actually linked that summary. Yeah, this is that. Did I get a message? I don't think so. So created a PR. Who am I? Repository. Yeah, I don't want that. Why does he want to do that? Get repository. So did we create a pull request? Not yet. Create pull request. Unable to reach the node, try again. Alright, so that entire session was lost somehow by cursor. And reset the entire context window. So we got all of that for, well, not for free. I'm sure we are paying for that, but interesting. It should maybe detect that all of that is actually implemented already. So we'll see. Yep, I confirmed the chat session feature is already mostly present. I'll get the repo into a clean state. Yeah, there you go. Why don't you do that? Simple changes. Do it. Should do the type checking, and since it already implemented all the feature, we should be able to see it. linking GitHub. So it's planning ahead. It's a good thing. Yep. No fixes applied. Check types. No fixes needed. Alright. Let's see how that looks like over here. I think it nuked the database just because it wanted to push. So let's see. No linter errors, commit changes. Do it, do it, do it. Do that. Run that. Open PR.
This track layer smoother drum textures with a steady low-key rhythm, a soft and pad sets the tone.
But these workflow states.
Accompanied by gentle plugs that give it a serene yet modern feel. The bassline pulses subtly,
Transition issue.
creating energy without overwhelming the atmosphere. Like cursey elements, like shakers and muted kicks,
Push.
maintain momentum. While every synth leads weave in and out to add an interest, perfect for enhancing a product demo. It's minimal, yet engaging. Allowing the visuals
Click
to
the replace.
while keeping the audience hooked.
What? So,
Allowing the visuals to shine while keeping the audience hooked. Oh yeah, recently weaving in and out to add the added interest, perfect for
why does it work like that?
enhancing a product demo. It's minimal, yet engaging. Allowing the visuals to shine while keeping the audience hooked. Allowing the visuals to shine while keeping the
Because
audience
the-
hooked.
create a request.
This track lays smooth that chalk too fast with a steady low-key rhythm, a soft synth pad sets the tone, accompanied by gentle plucks that give it a serene yet modern feel. The bass line pulses subtly, creating energy without overwhelming the atmosphere.
really interesting. I'm gonna change it to Opus. Message. Right, so maybe I should have, yeah, there you go. This is the thing. Put that here. Yeah. So that, complete it, and then, and this is implement, yeah, it implemented the thing, and I'm ready to review the PR. It took longer than I wanted, to be honest. Like, we had some problems connecting to OpenAI for some reason, so, you know, Anthropic to the rescue, I suppose. I'm not so happy that this is still in progress. I'm gonna tell Corsa that the issue is still in progress, but it should really review, change the status. There we go. That's it. And then once I review it, I can, you know, I can maybe actually build an agent to review this thing or review it manually, but it's usually good to have an agent critic as part of the flow. So the kind of take-home message for this is, you know, if I had to do this with 3 different MCP servers, it would have taken me a while just to configure cursor in order to actually connect 3 different pieces, right? We got interactions with GitHub, with Linear, and with Slack very seamlessly, right? So the actual problem was OpenAI connections for some reason, but everything else was just working out of the box. And this is the power that an MCP Gateway gives you, which is essentially you can now pick out of, how many do we have now? Like 7,500 tools essentially, and to just create an MCP Gateway for whatever use case you need, right? My recommendation is that you be very selective about the tools that you want to use. Think about the flow, think about the use case. Try to not pick tools that are likely to conflict. Like if you connect the Gmail MCP server and also the Outlook MCP server, and both of them have same email tool, for example, it's very likely that the LLM, any LLM, and even maybe a human may get confused about which one you want to use to send that specific message, depending on the context, right? If your prompt says use Microsoft for this, use Gmail for that, maybe, but it's something that you really need to evaluate. And we will talk about evals in a different time. So thank you so much for coming. Until the next time, guys, happy building.